Each May, the world's best surf ski and outrigger paddlers enter the ocean at Molokai's Kauai to compete in the Molokai Challenge, the World Championship of open ocean surf ski and outrigger racing. The Molokai Challenge, originally named Kanakai Kaika, is the ultimate Ironman and final test of paddling skill, endurance and knowledge of ocean surfing. It tests a paddler's ability to maneuver against unpredictable weather conditions in the Kauai Channel. The Kauai Channel, more often called the Molokai Channel, is an expansive ocean beginning at Lau Point in Molokai and ending at Diamond Head in Oahu. It is considered one of the roughest ocean channels in the world. The solo invitational event begins in the waters of Papohaku Roadstead, off the Kauai Hotel near the west end of Molokai, and finishes inside the marina at Hawaii Kai Koko Marina on Oahu, 32 nautical miles away. The 2005 race is the 29th annual crossing, counting the 1976 solo effort by Kailua physician Dale Adams, but it has since developed into the premier long-distance open ocean solo crossing in the world. It's a week before the main event, and a small team of South African paddlers is on the island of Kauai to prepare for the main event by competing in the 3rd annual World Relay Challenge.
Today is the 3rd annual World Relay Challenge. It's over 60 kilometers, 4 legs, 2-man teams, 1 surf ski each. There's about 100 entrants, relay teams, mainly in the 1-man outrigger. The first leg is 5K, and then you change over, then another 5K, then 2 18Ks. Very tough competition from Nathan Bagley from Australia and Dean Gardner, and we've got the New Zealanders. But hopefully Daryl Bartha and Ken Collins and Herman and I will be able to keep the South African flag flying.
The World Relay Challenge is unique, taking place on the island of Kauai, with teams consisting of 2 paddlers for both the outriggers and surf skis over a distance of 60 kilometers around the island of Kauai. At the first changeover, the Australian team has a slender lead over Team Kia Maxi South Africa, made up of Chulupski and Chulupski. The changeover is taking place in a transition area in shallow water, as both team members have to use the same craft for the race. The second South African team in the event, Kenny Collins and Daryl Bartho, follow close behind.
Very tight. The runs were kind of side on, so it wasn't that good. He ended up scratching quite a bit of the way because it wasn't from behind. Yeah, the next 2 legs are going to be a bit longer. This leg that they're paddling now is another 5 miles, another 30 minutes. And then we've got, what's the next one? 12 miles.
Next one's 12 miles.
12 miles each, so the next one's going to be about an hour.
Yeah, that was one hell of a hard leg, that, against Nathan Bagley. He's Olympic silver medalist, so he's not too shabby on the shorter distances. That there took about 28 minutes. I managed to get a little lead on him at the start. This next leg, Oscar's going to hang in there with Dean, hopefully, and then the fight will be on again now.
Into the second transition area at the Kauai Marriott, and Oscar's consolidated his lead, albeit slightly. Herman heading back out to sea, with the Australian paddler Nathan Bagley arriving late for the changeover, giving the South Africans a valuable lead. A unique feature of the Kauai race is getting to paddle past some of the more inaccessible areas of the island, along with the scenic shoreline. The Kauai Relay Challenge truly is an event with massive future potential. into the third transition area, and the Australian Nathan Bagley has considerably reduced the deficit between himself and the South Africans.
You know you're in international competition now. Gee. Lost a bit of time on the start through something so silly. You know, it's still a leg to go and Dean's right on Oscar's tail, so it's going to be a close race. It'll be a good finish, I think. So it's going to come down to these two, the two old dogs of the seas.
Dean Gardner of Australia seen rounding the final turning buoy and taking first place with South Africa's Oscar Chalupsky just behind him. Oscar was leading coming out of the final transition area, but he misjudged the final turning buoy close to the finish, and that gave the Aussies the chance they needed to take the win. Team Kia Maxi South Africa's Ken Collins and Daryl Bartha finished third, ending off a good day's racing for all the teams and a great warm-up for the Molokai race in a week's time.
A good fun day out. As I said before, nice to change the format and have a relay race. Definitely Herman and Oscar and Daryl are not going to have it their own way. The Aussies are certainly here, and I think this little race has proven that there's going to be a lot of serious fighting up front.
Back on the island of Oahu, and the team of Kia Maxi South African paddlers has a chance to reflect on the past weekend in Kauai. The training continues almost immediately, with the paddlers taking the opportunity to familiarize themselves with the finish to the Molokai race at the cliffs at Chinaman's Wall. This part of the race course has proved decisive in past years due to the unpredictable ocean conditions, the shallow reef passes, and the dangerous cliff faces. 10 times previous Molokai winner Oscar Chalupsky knows these cliffs better than anyone. Oscar first competed in this race 22 years ago, and has been the backbone of the 2005 team.
The toughest races on the world are always determined by the opposition. It's very easy to go to a race in beautiful places and win when there's no opposition, but I don't know what it is with Hawaii. Hawaii attracts the strongest fields in the world. We're here as part of the Kia Maxi team to do the Molokai to Oahu channel crossing, which is going to go over the Kauai channel. The race is going for about 29 years, started by a guy called Dale Adams. And the first 2 years was basically done as an adventure. What we've seen is bigger international fields, and that the South Africans and Australians have dominated for the past 26 years. We've got Nathan Bagley, two-time Olympic silver medalist, Greg Barton, two-time Olympic gold medalist. We've got Rami Zur, who's a world champion and World Cup sprint racer. Dean Gardner won it 9 times, is going to be a big opposition. You've got from South Africa, Herman, Butch Murray, Ken Collins, and Daryl Bartha. If he has a good race, I think he's going to show up a few more Aussies. There's a lot of fighting between the Aussies and the South Africans since the Perth World Cup. But hopefully, with the conditions like they are, the South Africans should prevail. But it's going to be tough.
With 24 hours to go until the race, the Team Kia Maxi boards the flight for the island of Molokai. The race is scheduled to start in the waters of the Kauai Hotel at the west end of Molokai. The Kauai Channel is considered one of the roughest in the world, which is why safety is paramount in this event. And after a quick briefing from the race director, the rivalry between the South African and Australian camp continues.
What's the tally? The Bagley-Oscar show. 1-1. 1-1. Decider. People can remember. Yeah, selective memory. It's all right. You're getting old. Good conditions. You got the quality field to break the record. So obviously I'm here. I want to win. So in order to win, I've got to chase the record. So I make no secret, I've come here trying to win and trying to break the record. So I'd love to get 2 notches on the belt in one go. So, but you know, he's not going to make it easy, and there's a handful of other guys that aren't going to make it easy. So we'll see. But I've got a goal, I'll make no secret, win and a record. Love them both. So it's Mother Nature's hands though. It all depends on what she dishes up tomorrow. Hopefully it's good, hopefully it's quick. Bring it on.
The history of the event goes back approximately 20 to 25 years. We've had this race a while. I've been involved in this for the past 3 years, and I've seen the event evolve and grow into a truly world-class event. The fact that paddlers from all over the world come to do this race and call it the World Championship is very exciting to us. The actual course itself is the draw. The Molokai Channel is one of the most challenging waterways in the world. Herman's our returning champion from last year. Oscar won 10 of them. We also have Dean Gardner. We have a strong contingency from Australia and New Zealand. We have over 120 15 craft. Some of them are 2-man, so we have about 120 paddlers actually doing this race. The conditions are ideal. We couldn't have asked for a better day. However, being that the channel is the channel, we're a little apprehensive. That's why we require every paddler to have an escort boat. Every paddler that leaves the beach tomorrow morning is required to have their own motorized craft as a support boat. Aloha Vakea, good evening. I'm Teo Clemens with Kanaka Ikaika, one of the race directors. You're watching the 2005 Kona Brew Kanaka Ikaika Molokai World Championships. Stay tuned, this place is gonna blow your socks off.
Conditions are good. The seas are 8 to 10 feet. For Hawaii standards, this is about as good as it gets. So it should be a good day.
All ready and rearing to go. Wind looks like it's blowing very hard. There's a small craft advisory, which means that small craft shouldn't be out there. So that makes it good for us. And looks like all the people have arrived. Everybody's got here safely, and we're just waiting for the race to go. 1 hour to start, and all the juice is all jacked up. And hopefully we can put the heat onto the Aussies.
Day's dawned. It's been a lot of waiting, but with the conditions, I think it's going to be worth the wait. Wind's 25 knots, I say, and the channel is looking dangerous, but for us guys, that's good news.
Yeah, ready to do the crossing. It's going to be a fast one this year.
Nerves are going. Wind was blowing hard last night. Yeah, I don't know really what to expect. It's the first time. Guys have looked after me, they've set me up. Just butterflies inside. I'm getting extremely nervous.
Good morning with 20-odd winds blowing right up your back, so what more can you ask for? Can't wait to start the race.
Aloha, we're in Molokai and we're here to watch the Kanaka Ikaika World Championships.
think we're about maybe half an hour till the start, and it's probably about half an hour till the wind comes. As soon as we get a bit of sun, I think we'll start getting some wind. So, looking forward to that.
Ready for the race. It's big out there.
How are you feeling for the race?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Fun and a bit of pain at the same time. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited about the conditions.
Stand up, watch your rudder.
The big day dawns and the paddlers get onto the water for final preparations before the start. The racing begins at the west end of Molokai at the Kauai Hotel, and approximately 3.5 hours of grueling ocean paddling lies ahead as 115 singles and 5 doubles take to the start of the 2005 Molokai World Surf Ski Challenge. The starting horn sounds the beginning of the crossing, and the surf ski paddlers head straight to the front of the pack. 9 times Molokai winner Dean Gardner is in search for his 10th victory. He gives us his take on the crossing.
I'm Dean Gardner. We're here at the start of the Molokai to Oahu surf ski race. We're on the west end of Molokai, and tomorrow we head to the eastern end of Oahu. This is the 16th time I've done this event. I've won it 9 times. I'd like to sort of get my 10th victory up in this event. It's a personal goal that I've had since I won my first one back in the early 90s. Obviously Oscar and I have had some good tussles here. Herman and I have had some good tussles here. I expect this year those two to be up in the front, and along with Nathan Bagley and a couple of the other Australian guys, I think it'll be one of the best races we've ever had here. Obviously winning 10's a big thing for me. If I can get that out of the way, then I might not have to do this race anymore.
Paddlers in the crossing need to use the ocean current and wind direction to make it easier for themselves, as predominant trade winds come in from an easterly direction. Tactics dictate the pack heads north of the island into the open ocean to find the correct wind and swell direction to take them across to Oahu. 2 packs emerge early in the race. Herman Chalupsky, Dean Gardner and Daryl Bartho staying further north for the early stages of the race, while Nathan Bagley and Oscar Chalupsky opt to stay further south. Tahitian ski paddling legend Lewis Laughlin also figuring strongly at the front of the race. At the 1 hour mark, the paddlers turn west with the swell direction to make their dash for Oahu. The group of Herman Chalupsky, Bartho and Gardner opting to stay further north for longer and creating a gap between themselves and the more southerly group of about 4 kilometers. At the sharp end of the race, and Nathan Bagley and Oscar Chalupsky's tactic of turning earlier seems to have paid off for the moment, having a slightly better line of the run into Oahu. The gap of 4 kilometers is now narrowed to 3, but in open ocean racing, only time will tell which decision will prove to be the correct one. Back with the northerly group, and Dean Gardner and Daryl Bartho are going stroke for stroke.
Things are good. The race day is finally here. It's going to be, looks like it's going to be quite a messy start. So we just got to look sharp, just keep an eye on the front runners, and then see how the race progresses as it goes. Yeah, I'm feeling strong. Yeah, had a good build up, so nice and rested now. So just make sure I link up the runs and put down the hurt. Yeah.
2 hours into the race, and an uncharacteristic error by Oscar Chalupsky sees him taking a swim. The first time he's done that in 13 Molokais, and losing some valuable time on Nathan Bagley, who now leads the race just a few hundred meters to the south. Wasting no time and putting in an excellent set of runs, Oscar Chalupsky manages to narrow the gap and has Bagley in his sights in no time at all. Oscar showing the tenacity that's won him 10 previous Molokais. Back north, we find the rest of Team Kia Maxi South Africa. Herman Chalupsky's taken charge of this group, putting some distance between himself and Gardner and Bartho. And now at 2.5 hours, the groups firmly within sight of each other, they set their sights on Coco Head, and the race is on to reach Chinaman's Wall first. The The heat is intense and the competition at the front of the race is heating up. Gardner and Bartho going stroke for stroke at the front as they look to milk the runs. Daryl Bartho bursting into the lead, while Aussie Dean Mercer does just the same. He's just behind the chasing pack, but nonetheless right in contention. Nathan Bagley and Oscar Chalupsky at the top of the shot here in the black ski, trading run for run, looking for that critical advantage as they head towards Chinaman's Wall. The beautiful sight of Coco Head means that the finish line is near. 3 front paddlers reach the cliffs at the same time: Nathan Bagley, Oscar Chalupsky and Herman Chalupsky. Oscar's and Nathan's line into Oahu is proving to be the better option on the day, and Herman finds himself 500 meters off the pace in the front. And what a pace it is! Bagley and Chalupsky trading the lead. Nathan chasing a good set of runs, momentarily pulling away from Oscar. But Oscar answers straight back, keeping the lead firmly within his grasp. At Chinaman's Wall, Oscar seizes the opportunity to pull away, putting together a great set of runs. This will prove to be an insurmountable lead. Herman Chalupsky at this stage back in 3rd position, 500 meters back. And with these 2 juggernauts of the surf slugging it out, paddle stroke for paddle stroke, the defining moment of the race came in its very dying stages. Oscar Chalupsky, putting in a strong paddle, picked up a miraculous set of runs and suddenly found himself surging ahead of Nathan Bagley. Chalupsky now getting escorted into the calmer waters. He can sense victory in his grasp, and you can see the resignation from Bagley. He knows he's been beaten by some power paddling and superb choice of runs as they head into the marina. Chalupsky taking a moment to doff his Kia Maxi Team South Africa cap as he heads for the finish line, knowing that he's got victory in sight, while his brother Herman Chalupsky, who is now beginning to feel the effect of 3.5 hours of paddling, is beginning to feel the struggle in the final few hundred meters into home. Sneaking in on the inside of an exhausted Herman Chalupsky, Dean Gardner, the old pro of the sea, picking up a big run and capitalizing on Herman Chalupsky, blowing in the final stages to snatch 3rd away from the other member of Team Kia Maxi South Africa. But the crowd is waiting at the marina to see Oscar Chalupsky from Team Kia Maxi South Africa cross the line to take his 11th victory in the Molokai crossing. In 2nd place, double Olympic silver medalist and another 2nd in the bag for Nathan Bagley, one of the great competitors in world paddling. Dean Gardner making it a 2-3 for Australia as he snatches the last place on the podium. Exhausted but satisfied with having completed the world's toughest ski marathon, Herman Chalupsky limps home in 4th. And a 3rd member of the Team Kia Maxi South Africa, Daryl Bartho, having slugged it out with the front runners the whole way through, crossing the line in 7th behind Martin Kenny and Dean Mercer of Australia.
It was the most interesting race I've done because, as predicted, Nathan went off so hard that I thought, what are these guys doing? And I stayed with him. Eventually I went on my own line where I thought Oahu's. As you know, we couldn't see Oahu, and then Nathan came past, and I didn't try and beat him or anything. I just sort of conserved the whole time, realizing it's going to be a long, long race. I made my move as we turned and hit the wall right at Portlock Point, which was right on the point there. And I just carried on pulling, and then I didn't even look back to see where he was. And it's a good win.
So Oscar Chalupsky cements himself as one of the legends of the Molokai. finishing in a time of 3 hours and 28, some way shy of the record. Despite all the hype about records falling, the tough conditions and heat on the day, together with his unexpected swim, putting paid to any chances of the record falling. 11 victories for Chalupsky, Herman Chalupsky in 4th, and Daryl Bartha, the 3rd member of Team Kia Maxi South Africa, in 7th.
Yeah, it was a good race, eh? Good to be up there, and the runs were pretty good. I think we ended up going slightly further north. Myself, Dino and Herman, yeah, we formed a bit of a group. Oscar snuck through on the left, slightly further south. And yeah, just towards the end, muscles got a bit tired, and yeah, each run became harder to catch. But it was a good race all in all.
But, you know, you can't take it past Oscar. Every time he comes back, he bullshits on how he's going to win it, and he ends up winning it. So good on him. It's a good job.
You win some, you lose some. I'm blaming you. But you just never know where the runs or the currents are. So you just got to take your chances across there. Sometimes the northern channel might be quicker, sometimes the southern one is just quicker to go south this year.
It was a great race, and I put everything into it, and you know, I made my intentions clear at the start that I was going to go out quick, I was going to try and win and try and get the record, and came close in both. But you know, today Oscar paddled unbelievable. He was so many times, a few times he came up next to me, and I got a bit of a shock. I didn't expect to see him, and then I put in a bit of a kick and I'd pull away every time. So I thought I had him covered. I thought, okay, if that's all he's got, he's obviously worked hard to get up to me, and there's no other racing over that distance. It's so tight. It's, you know, came down to less than a minute in the end of the race. So it's an awesome experience. Hawaii is a beautiful place. It's definitely on my list of things to come back and do, and I guess it was the one that got away this year, and I definitely want to come back, and even though I'm hurting pretty badly, that I'll be back and I'm doing this again, and you know, I know what to expect now. I've got that first one out of the way, came close, but hopefully next time I'll get it on the money.
The Molokai Hawaii World Surf Ski Championships, proudly presented by Kia Motors and Maxi Stainless Steel.
The record is it's a pretty bold statement because you never know what the tides, the currents and everything are doing. And also I competed against Nathan 4 or 5 months ago in Perth, and I beat him on the flat water. He got me on the downwind portion from Rottnest. So I don't know how he's going to last the full race. He hasn't done this race before, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does in this race. He's a great paddler, but it'll all be decided on those big swells and downwind tomorrow.
Just arrived in Molokai. The winds are really good, blowing probably 25 knots. So let's hope they hold for the next 24 hours. And conditions are looking really good. Most of the paddlers are coming in dribs and drabs slowly during the course of today. All the escort boats should be out this afternoon, but the guys are excited, and with these conditions, yeah, really keen to get going now. Well, Oahu is sort of directly in front of us. The start will be a bit to our right. Tomorrow morning you'll see about 110 escort boats here getting all the extra juices and everything for their guys. And then the boys, or last year we paddled about a K up the beach, and then there were 2 boys there. We started and then went sort of actually going directly with the wind probably coming over your right shoulder. The runs will be running a bit right to left, but that shouldn't be a problem. Be surfing them coming off on the right hand side, and about 20 minutes into half an hour and you should start seeing the hill of Coco Head on Oahu Island, and it just doesn't seem to get any closer for the 2 hours, but thereafter you start feel as though you're getting closer to home. But tomorrow morning is a beautiful sight, seeing all the boats. Guys will be excited, adrenaline will be pumping. I think this is going to be a great Molokai.
There's too many guys out here, too many guys from all over the world right now, but Junior's definitely going to be up there. Felt pretty good. It's the first time, just didn't know what to expect, but turned out pretty well.
I'm from Japan.
From Japan?
Yeah.
Enjoying yourself?
I am.
Hey, racing tomorrow?
Racing tomorrow.
You fit? Trained?
I think I'm ready for this kind of win.
Hey, I'm Teo Clemens, one of the race directors for the 2005 Kona Brew Solo Molokai World Championships. As we were just concluding with our pre-race meeting, one of the things that really caught my attention this year was the strength of the field. We have world-class paddlers from around the world, South Africa, Tahiti, Japan, Australia, United States, and of course Hawaii. We have over 15 craft. Some of them are 2-man, so we have about 120 paddlers actually doing this race today, or actually tomorrow. The conditions are ideal. We couldn't have asked for a better day. However, being that the channel is the channel, we're a little apprehensive. That's why we require every paddler to have an escort boat. Every paddler that leaves the beach tomorrow morning is required to have their own motorized craft as a support boat. Some of the top guys we have here, Herman, Oscar Chalupsky. Herman's our returning champion from last year. Oscar won 10 of them. We also have Dean Gardner. We have a strong contingency from Australia and New Zealand, as well as Tahiti and Japan. The history of the event goes back approximately 20 to 25 years. We've had this race a while. I've been involved in this for the past 3 years, and I've seen the event evolve and grow into a truly world-class event. The fact that paddlers from all over the world come to do this race and call it the World Championship is very exciting to us. The actual course itself is the draw. The Molokai Channel is one of the most challenging waterways in the world. We could have great following seas today and tomorrow have a headwind. We never know what it's going to give us. The weather, however, calls for nice east-northeast at 15 to 20 miles an hour, meaning the times will be extremely fast. We're hoping for a record time. We have a little bit of an outgoing tide, so it may be a little close, but with the field we have that's showing up tomorrow, we're confident that we may have a record time. One of our main objectives is to draw as many international world-class paddlers, and as they come, we get interest from various business, not so much locally, but from corporate, national, international businesses that want to get involved in this. The way that the event is going now, it's growing steadily every year with the field that we have this year, the gold medalists from Olympians, the world champions that we have at the World Championships throughout the world. It makes this race truly an event that the World Championships and people who want to get involved in our organization really need to come and get involved in. We're really happy with what's happening. Aloha Vakea, good evening. I'm Teo Clemens with Kanaka Ikaika, one of the race directors. You're watching the 2005 Kona Brew Kanaka Ikaika Molokai World Championships. Stay tuned, this place is going to blow your socks off.
It's the day before the race. We're sitting on the west end of Molokai. It's fantastic here, I'm sure you'll see by the vision. The wind is absolutely howling. It's probably about 15 or 20 knots straight out of the east. And I can see from here that the seas are picking up, in front of our eyes. So hopefully this will blow all night and continue on through most of the day tomorrow. And I think it's going to be one hell of a race. This is the 16th time I've done this event. I've won it 9 times. I've held the record now in time for the event since 92, I think, or 93, and taken it from 3 hours 27 to 3 hours 24 and then 3 hours 21. So tomorrow looks like a day that someone could possibly break that record. I hope it's me. I'd like to sort of get my 10th victory up in this event. It's a personal goal that I've had since I won my first one back in the early 90s. Obviously Oscar and I have had some good tussles here. Herman and I have had some good tussles here. I expect this year those two to be up in the front, and along with Nathan Bagley and a couple of the other Australian guys, I think it'll be one of the best races we've ever had here. I expect it to be in the range of sort of 4 to 10 feet seas out there tomorrow, which will mean a lot of good surfing, the ski downwind, and that'll take it away from the guys that are really paddle fit. But once again, a lot of those guys that are paddle fit can also surf very well too. So I expect it to be a race where you'll see maybe 5 or 6 guys go out to the front very early, and then slowly that group will pedal down to whoever's left standing. I think what you'll see is after 2.5 hours, that's when you'll start to see the drop-offs, and you'll start to see someone take control, or a couple of guys starting to take control of the race. The very first part of the race is often quite calm, and you'll see a couple of guys go out really fast. Quite often some of those guys will drop off pretty quick once you start getting into the decent chop. These are the conditions that you dream for this race, because we've had easterly winds blowing now for 3 days, and they're increasing at the moment, which means the seas are building with the wind on top, so you're catching swell and chop at the same time, and you should be able to get some pretty good link-ups all the way across to Oahu. I expect the time to take probably around in the low 3:20s somewhere. For anyone to go faster than that, that means they're going to take my record, and if it's not me, I don't want it to happen. Obviously, winning 10's a big thing for me. If I can get that out of the way, then I might not have to do this race anymore. No, I think it'll begin right from the start. I think as I said, I think you'll see 5 or 6 guys go to the front, and then it'll be between those guys. After 2 hours, a couple will start to pedal, and then around the 3 hour mark, that's when you might have your winner, or the couple of guys that the winner's going to come from. In the past, in the races that I've won here in the past, I've never really had the race has been decided mid-channel, except for the last time Oscar and I raced head-to-head. Oscar got me in the last sort of 1.5 miles of the race, so that's the only time that I've been threatened, going into the final stages of the event. Prior to that, it's always been maybe a 2 or 3 minute lead, and so it's quite crucial to make sure you still got your wits about you with, even in that last mile. If you had Nathan Bagley alongside you, for example, going into the flatter water, I'd hate to put myself in that position and you know, I wouldn't really be putting too much money on myself to beat him over 500 metres. So, you know, a lot of the guys are very, very good in the flat too. So, you know, I think it's going to be a really good race tomorrow. The race developed, nearly 30 years ago now, from a couple of guys just doing the crossing. I think it took them 7 hours or something like that. And then after a couple of years of that, I think there might have been 10 or 15 people doing it. Grant Kenny came over from Australia. He was only 15 or 16 years old, and he won the race, and that's probably been the first real official race. And since then it's been dominated by basically 3 people, Grant, Oscar and myself, with Herman and Guy Leach sneaking in there for wins. But it's pretty unique in that it's a pretty elite club to join if you win this race. There's only a few guys that have won it in 30 years, so I'm hoping to keep it in that group and keep it in this one group. But it's probably the biggest field this year. They said they've got 130 people starting. There's a lot of surf skis this year, which is really good. The race had kind of been taken over by one-man canoes over the last few years. So it's good to see so many good surf ski paddlers here, and the depth of surf ski paddlers here this time. You can see the boats are evolving. They've definitely evolved over the years, and new shapes coming out all the time. So I think it's going to be a, you know, it's going to be a fantastic race.
Completely buggered. Jeez, I think Dean, Daryl and myself went too far north, and I saw the guys go south too late, try to catch them, and then hit the wall, literally and physically at the end. I could hardly paddle at the end here. So, geez, you win some, you lose some. But you just never know where the runs or the currents are, so you just got to take your chances across it. Sometimes the northern channel might be quicker, sometimes the southern one is it's just quicker to go south this year.
Yeah, it was a good race, eh? Good to be up there, and the runs were pretty good. I think we ended up going slightly further north. Myself, Dino and Herman, yeah, we formed a bit of a group. Oscar snuck through on the left, slightly further south. And yeah, just towards the end, muscles got a bit tired, and yeah, each run became harder to catch. But it was a good race all in all. Paced myself pretty well, and coming into the headwind was just, it was just like, come on, please. Got passed right at the end by one of the Aussies, which is a bit bleak. But yeah, it was a good race all in all.
Probably a little bit tactically wrong at the start. We went a little bit too far north.
Where we came in?
Herman, Daryl and myself, and I think Marty was with us as well, and Dean Mercer was up there with us as well, and probably dragged a bit out of us. But you know, you can't take it past Oscar. He's a legend. Every time he comes back, he bullshits on how he's going to win it, and he ends up winning it. So good on him. It's a good job.
I'm happy there's no disgrace in fifth today. They were fast. It's about as good as races I've ever done. So
Muscles feeling a bit tired?
Yeah, I'm pretty buggered, but it's still a good day.
Good work.
It's a good day. They're fast, so they deserve it. It's all good fun.
Yeah, well, I went with Dean Gardner, Nathan Bagley and the guys at the start. They were set off with a blistering pace, and you basically got to go where the pack is. You can't really go where the fastest line is because you don't know how fast you're going to go. After approximately 2 hours of hitting boats basically with Dean Gardner, who's been a champion now for nine times in a row, I decided to hit down, and I didn't actually know where I was. I thought I was in front of everyone, and about 3 or 4 k's from Coca Head, which is the big basically the headland that stretches from Coca Marina. Oscar was about 300 meters ahead. I got to within 50 meters of Oscar, tried to catch him because obviously Oscar and Nathan Bagley's route was far more straighter and economical than our route because we went far too north. And as soon as I caught them, I just I'd actually tried too hard. I'd actually just blew. I couldn't even lift my paddles up as we hit Coca Head. And even Dean Gardner came past me, who was another half a K or a couple of 100 meters behind. But that's racing, I suppose, and next year I'll definitely use a GPS on this race, because at the start we couldn't actually see Oahu Island, and we actually didn't know where we were going. And the guys, it was like a hit and hope for the first hour, which direction we were going to go. And to me, 90% of the time you race this race, you got to be upwind of the guy, your competitors. So, but this year it was you had to be downwind. So it's basically a lottery and to strategize in this race as far as the actual line is concerned to get going through this race. Yeah, you got to take your hat off to Oscar. He decided on a line, he went for it, and at the end he had more. Basically, when Nathan was with him at the end, I was there for a couple of minutes, but he had the strength to carry it through into the wind. I'd blown into the wind, so the race for me was over at Coca Head. But to have 4 South Africans in the top 10, it's not a bad going.
It was a great race, and I put everything into it, and you know, I made my intentions clear at the start that I was going to go out quick. I was going to try and win and try and get the record, and came close in both. But you know, today Oscar paddled unbelievable. He was so many times. A few times he came up next to me, and I got a bit of a shock. I didn't expect to see him, and then I put in a bit of a kick, and I'd pull away every time. So I thought I had him covered. I thought, okay, if that's all he's got, he's obviously worked hard to get up to me, and yeah, and then I'd just respond and pull away again. So every time he did it, you know, about an hour later he pulled up again, and again I kicked and pulled away, and I thought, well, okay, I've got his cover, and you know, Oscar doesn't hold anything back and he doesn't hide anything. So I was pretty confident that I was doing everything right. And for me personally, I was relieved to see him that I knew I was on track, because we took a different path than, you know, 90% of the field. So it was a gamble, but I really put some faith in my escort boat. I guess they told me we're on the money, we're going the right way, and I just had to trust them, and because they've got more experience than me. My escort driver's a fisherman here who fishes every day and crosses that channel and knows it better than anyone. So, mate, in the end, I was stoked that I had his guidance and his direction, and I guess Oscar did the right thing too. So it came to a race at 2 and pulled up at the last headland, you know, basically 2 kilometres ago, side by side, and I thought, yeah, I actually knew I was hurting a little. I was cramping. I'd been cramping for the last 50 minutes, and I was trying to hide it, and you know, pulled down a runner next to Oscar, and I was cheering and yelling. I just wanted to hide it, and he actually said that scared him a bit, that I was in such good spirits, and you know, it's mind games. It goes on, but you know, I still thought I could win it, and at the end, he pulled away and got it. To be honest, you know, I think I did everything right, and I wouldn't change too much, except probably just my approach to that final point. Oscar used his knowledge and his past experience. He got in close to the wall and got the rebounding waves off the wall, and they just kind of surged him ahead, and he just got that little bit in front. It was just enough that was the turning point of the race right there. So once he got around the wall, he had first approach and first shot at the little waves, and again just pulled away, and that was it. The gap never changed. So I knew I was kind of into that massive headwind at the finish. We were both hurting, and unless you're totally fresh, you're never going to make any ground there. It's just, we were both hurting, and I'd done everything I could, and I knew he'd got me then. So I was a little disappointed, but hey, you know, he's proven himself over the years. He's a worthy winner, and he's got a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge, and he was just, I guess, the better paddler on the day. He probably did a few smarter things, and that may have cost me at the end, but hey, I'm not too disappointed. He's a worthy winner. Last 2 weeks been probably the best 2 weeks I've had in a long time. That I came here, never been to Kauai before, never done Molokai before, and not knowing what to expect. So it exceeded my expectations. The race was an experience. You know, some of those monstrous swells we go roaring down. It's yeah, you can't describe it, and you can't kind of express to people just how much of a hoot it is. You know, for 3.5 hours just pulling down monstrous waves, and you know, and after 3.5 hours pulling up at a headland after nearly 60 kilometres or whatever it is, and you're still side by side. It's just, there's no other racing over that distance. It's so tight. It's, you know, it came down to less than a minute in the end of the race. So it's an awesome experience. Hawaii is a beautiful place. It's definitely on my list of things to come back and do, and I guess it was the one that got away this year, and I definitely want to come back and focus specifically on this event. I'm in I guess a difficult situation where I'm training for both sprint and marathon. So, you know, I'm straight home. You know, 2 days later, I'm on a plane to Australia for a day and a half and straight back on a plane to Europe to race a World Cup and sprinting 500 metres. So in a matter of 2 weekends, I've done a 60-kilometre race and the following weekend a 500-metre sprint. So it's pretty hard to prepare for both, and I'm not using that as an excuse. It's just, you know, I've got to try and cover the two spectrums, and I think if I was ever to do this again, I'd like to do it properly and commit 100% to just doing the endurance side of things. So I think that's probably where I faded at the end of the race today, and it got away from me. I hope to bring a few other paddlers, a few mates, and a few other, I know, good paddlers back here. And the experience I've had here, I can't recommend it enough. To, you know, it's the mecca of paddling. It's not too often you get to do a race of that caliber and with such, you know, intensity, but such fun, and you know, and also get to spend a week in Hawaii, and it's just the ultimate holiday. I felt I've had a holiday as well as done a great race. It's not often you get that chance. Normally you go away and race in a foreign country, and it doesn't feel like a holiday. It's just so relaxing here. The people, the culture, it's just so relaxed. It's a beautiful place, and you can't help but get caught up in it. I can't recommend it enough. And you know, I said before the race, and I'm still saying it after the race, even though I'm hurting pretty badly, that I'll be back and I'm doing this again. And you know, I know what to expect now. I've got that first one out of the way. Came close, but hopefully next time I'll get it on the money. So, all in all, great experience. I've learnt. I've had a great time. No regrets. Had a ball. I'll be back again.
One small step for man,